So do you want to become a cybersecurity analyst in the next 6 months? Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal the exact plan to do it as a beginner without any experience. Hi, my name's AJ. I've been in cybersecurity for the last 9 years. And on this channel, I teach all things cybersecurity for beginners. So let's get into it. So step 1, build a foundation in computer networking and in cybersecurity. The best way to do that today is with something like CompTIA Network Plus and CompTIA Security Plus. The reason for that is that you need to understand computer networking because cybersecurity is all about protecting networks. Now, CompTIA Network Plus is a very good certification for this. It can go into a lot of detail and can sometimes be quite off-putting, but don't worry. Go through the content. You're not expected to be a networking expert when trying to get into cybersecurity, but if you can be very proficient in networking and just understand how computers talk to each other, then you're going to have a better understanding of how to actually protect them. So definitely look into CompTIA Network Plus, but also the hands-on practical labs as well, because these are going to help build that hands-on experience, which is what a lot of companies are looking for these days. Then you want to look into something like the CompTIA Security Plus. This is a well-known certification. CompTIA Security Plus, just get it on your CV, get it on your resume, because most companies are asking for this as a standard. And I know there is a lot of information out there and it can be very overwhelming trying to get into cybersecurity today. When I started out, I did a business and IT degree. On this business and IT degree, it taught me computer networking. There was a small module, and in that module, there was a small section of computer security. So my degree wasn't built around cybersecurity, wasn't really built very much around networking either. That is why I would go down the CompTIA Network Plus and Security Plus route instead via these certifications, because they're well-renowned, the industry and companies are actually asking for it out of candidates that are going for these jobs. So go for these certifications. It's a good baseline to get that foundation. And once you've got that foundation, we can move on to the next step. So step 2 then is actually deciding what job you actually want to do. Now, cybersecurity is a very broad term. So saying that you want to work in cybersecurity is very general. Within cybersecurity, there are many different jobs and many different disciplines that you can choose from. Things such as GRC, things such as cybersecurity analyst, things such as DevSecOps, for example. So I personally started as a SOC analyst or Security Operations Center analyst 9 years ago. I now work as a senior cybersecurity analyst and have transitioned more into the incident response side of cybersecurity. But the reason here that I tell you to decide on what job you want to do, because ultimately, after you've picked that job, you want to only learn the skills related to that job. And this, again, helps reduce the overwhelm, and it'll help you be more specialized so that when it comes to the further steps, you'll understand what your actual plan is, instead of trying to learn everything in cybersecurity, which is just not going to work. So pick a job that you want to go down. I recommend the role of a cybersecurity analyst. It's not only where I started, but it's the role today that is considered the more entry-level role. It's not completely entry-level. There's still things that you need to learn and things that you need to understand about being a cybersecurity analyst and how to get some experience, which I'll talk about shortly, how you can get that experience. But I personally think the cybersecurity analyst job role is the better one to pick. And now then you can just, once you've picked that job role, don't just take it from me. It's just my advice. Have a read into the different jobs that are out there. But I personally think cybersecurity analyst is the one most people coming into the industry who don't have any experience should go for. And now this is our do-it-yourself pathway. So we talked about building foundations in networking and cybersecurity and then picking a job role. So these are just some of the skills I'd recommend. So I recommend pausing this, taking a screenshot, because these are kind of the main skills that I do on a daily basis as a cybersecurity analyst. And this is what companies are looking for these days. So things such as SIEM, Security Information Event Management Tool. It's a tool all cybersecurity analysts are using. I've even got videos on this channel that teach you about SIEM, how to set one up at home yourself. AI and automation, so understanding how AI can be used in a security operations center. Instant response, how to actually respond to incidents in a security operations center environment, how to actually remediate attacks, understanding how attackers are attacking the cloud, how to defend against them. Different attack types, so the general attacks, your phishing, your malware-based attacks. A lot of this you will learn on CompTIA Security Plus. You also want to understand how to defend against them. Detection rules, so a SIEM will have a list of rules that are looking for malicious activity in the logs. Then you want to, when you're setting up a SIEM, start to have a look at the different detection rules that are out there. Understand how it's actually detecting malicious activity. Threat intelligence, threat hunting. So threat intelligence is using open source information to understand the latest attack techniques. And then when we've got that intelligence, we're usually performing threat hunting, which is gathering that intelligence, often turning them into detection rules to actually search across the customer's network to see if the latest techniques that are being used are discovered in the network, which could indicate an ongoing attack that is potentially being missed by the current detection rules. So a lot of these actually link up together. So you do your threat intelligence and you build your detection rules from the threat intelligence, and then you perform threat hunting in the SIEM. And then if you do detect malicious activity, you may have to perform incident response. So a lot of these do link together. Analysis tooling then, so SIEM being the major one, but your firewalls, your endpoint detection systems, antivirus solutions. Again, a lot of this is taught on CompTIA Security Plus. Then we mentioned customer service. The reason I mentioned customer service is because starting out, and it's personally what I did, the best companies to work for are managed security service companies. And the reason for that is that you're usually dealing with customers, so there's a lower barrier of entry to get in. Dealing with customers can be annoying, but it is a great route into the industry. So step 3 then, and this is where you actually build the experience that a lot of these companies are asking for, where they're asking for 1 to 3 years worth of experience. You can get that from home projects. So my favorite are the ones that you set up at home yourself. So setting up your own SIEM, like I mentioned, I've got a video on this channel that shows you how to set up your own SIEM at home. Setting up, where I mentioned cloud attack and defense, setting up your own AWS infrastructure, setting up CloudTrail, trying to actually attack the AWS instance. Again, I've got a video on this channel that explains that as well. These are the kind of things that these home projects are what can give you the actual experience that these companies are looking for. Because when you do go into the interviews, you've got experience to draw from, which is from your home projects. So you can also do things like hack the box, try hack me. These things are also good as well. But the personal home projects are personally my favorite, because you're actually setting up all of the infrastructure, and a lot of this is very much like security engineering. So when you're going for a cybersecurity analyst role, you can say, well, I actually know how to set up a lot of this infrastructure. I know how the back-end infrastructure works. So you're not only being able to say that you can respond to alerts in the SIEM, you can actually set up alerts in the SIEM as well and create these detection rules. And these are the kind of things that can really help you stand out, because many people who are coming out of university aren't being taught these type of things. And that's one of the reasons that they're very much struggling to get jobs, is because the cybersecurity roles are changing. So me as a senior analyst, I'm expected now to do more kind of engineering style work. So that's why we recommend these home projects over things like Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. But by all means, if you want to start off with Try Hack Me and Hack the Box, also use those as well. But this step 3 is very important. Do hands-on home projects, because this is where you get the experience from. So step 4 then is actually crafting a standout resume and CV. So all of the experience that you've done so far from your CompTIA Network Plus, Security Plus, your learnings about the actual job itself, so being a cybersecurity analyst, and the home projects needs to be crafted into a killer resume. So I'll link at the end of this video the 7 mistakes to avoid on your resume, and I talk through a resume that is working very well for the students that I've been working with. So have a look at that video as well at the end of this. But ultimately, it needs to be very concise. You don't want it to be multiple pages. 2 pages is usually the maximum. You want it to clearly show your projects. You want it to be able to easily read by the actual recruiter, because often they're only taking a few seconds, maximum 6 to 10 seconds to review your initial profile that you've got on the top of your resume. And you also want to get through the application tracking systems as well, so making sure that you write down all of the keywords that match the job description. So your resume must always match the job description that you're going for to increase the chances that it passes through these application tracking systems and ultimately gets into the eyes of a recruiter or the actual hiring manager, for example. So yeah, you want to make sure that you're avoiding the 7 mistakes that I talk about, and I will link that in the video at the end. But ultimately, you want a clean resume, concise, and make sure that it is always tailored to the job applications that you're going for. When you're actually applying for these jobs, I would rather that you did less applications but tailored each one rather than just sent the same resume off to every single application that you can see. So tailoring your application tailoring the job description towards your resume is an absolute must. So step 5 then is actually applying early and often. So once you've gone through the CompTIA Security Plus and you've started to go through some cybersecurity analyst training and home projects, just get that quickly written down onto your resume, get it set up and just start applying. You never know, something might come up. And it's better off to start early because ultimately you're going to need to do quite a lot of applications anyway. So just begin the application process. You may start to see that some resumes get through and some don't. The ones that do get through and make it to the hiring manager could result in interviews. That means that you're going down the right path. And you want to be continuing to apply early and often. And the reason for this is that it takes time to apply for jobs. So you may as well start when you've started to build up the experience. You may begin to even get interviews, but you may actually end up failing those interviews because you haven't completed all of the necessary training. Well, that's okay because those interviews are going to give you experience as well. And I personally prefer to actually try to give it a go and actually fail from actually doing rather than not actually do it at all. So apply early and often. Use things like LinkedIn, speak to recruiters, reach out to recruiters, ask what they're actually looking for from these different job applications and what they're expecting from candidates, because these are the kind of things that are really going to help you. You want to speak to the recruiters when you're applying for the jobs as well. So apply through LinkedIn and then reach out to the hiring manager on LinkedIn as well and just mention that your application has gone in, ask what they're actually looking for, see if you're somebody that they would be willing to hire. I would always try to apply for 5 jobs. I do 5 job applications per day. Failure is always going to happen. You're always going to get rejections. When I first started out, I failed hundreds and hundreds of job applications. I failed many interviews. I've embarrassed myself in interviews by not knowing answers to questions. But ultimately I continued, and that's what helped me land that first job. And even now with experience, I've still failed interviews. I still haven't always had the right experience for a particular job role, for example. And these are the kind of things that are just going to happen. If you fear rejections from applications, then you may as well just give up now because ultimately that's just part of the game. You just have to be consistent. If you give up, that's only when you're actually out and that's only when you're going to lose. So ultimately you want to stick at it, be consistent with the job applications and make sure that you're understand that failure is always going to happen, but you've always got to get up and keep going. So the final step then is to actually network with people and also remember to have fun as well. So with networking then, you can go to conferences, for example, maybe things like Black Hat, maybe even things like B-Sides. These are kind of networking events. There's probably much smaller ones as well that you can look for. Just Google cybersecurity networking events. Just try to go to the free ones. Start to make connections with people, reach out to people. You can even reach out to me as well if you want. I've got a free cybersecurity community. The link is in the description. Come and join that community. Come and ask me questions. There's other cybersecurity professionals in there as well. But also in real life is also good as well. So go to these conferences and just start to speak to people. It's great to do it on LinkedIn in these communities, but it's also great to do it in real life as well because you never know what opportunities could come up. You might strike a friendship with somebody who is looking to take on a junior cybersecurity analyst. He'll keep you in mind. These kind of things can always happen. And most importantly as well, have fun. Cybersecurity can be serious. We're always talking about breaches, we're always talking about hacks and talking about how difficult it is to get into the industry. But we want to make sure that we keep it fun. Cybersecurity does have a light-hearted nature to it as well, which we always want to lean into. And we always want to make sure that we remember to laugh when things are getting difficult in terms of job applications and things like that. Lean into other people. Come and talk to us, for example. And come and talk to myself if there's anything that you're struggling with when it comes to failure or not actually getting where you want to get to. Because we do want to try and keep it fun and keep it exciting because the cybersecurity industry is very fun and exciting to work into. So we want to make sure that we're always leaning into that as well. So networking and making sure to have fun is hugely important. So to conclude then, you now have a plan of how to learn cybersecurity in the next 6 months and even move towards the role of a cybersecurity analyst. So you want to make sure that you're building your foundations with CompTIA Network Plus and Security Plus. You want to then decide on what job you want to do. Now, we recommend the role of a cybersecurity analyst, but of course, please do your research into what jobs you think you'll enjoy. Then you want to get your actual hands-on experience. The best way to do this is with actual home projects. Then you want to craft a killer resume. just to make sure that you can actually stand out and actually get in front of interviewers and hiring managers. Be applying early and often, making sure that you're consistent with those applications, and then ultimately make sure that you're trying to network with people in the industry, and also remember to have fun as well. So I want to say thank you for watching this video, and if you want to understand the 7 mistakes to avoid and how to actually craft a killer resume in cybersecurity, go and watch this video next. I want to say thank you for watching. I'll see you over there.